Hey guys, today we're going to talk about guns and kids. So this video was inspired by my brand new daughter that my wife and I brought to our family. And I figured it'd be good to talk about how to handle guns and kids at more or less the same time. So to get into it, the first is obviously you need to store your firearms in a safe location. Now, what a safe location is going to vary between person to person, family to family, instance to instance. Before we had kids, we just kept them under the bed. I had a friend who, before they had kids, he just velcroed his 1911 to his headboard and even had a shotgun propped up next to his bed and holes drilled out of the headboard for spare shotgun shells. And that was perfectly safe because everybody they had visit their place knew about gun safety, so that was no problem. Now that they have kids, they lock them up. Same with me. Now that I've got kids, I got a safe over there, and I keep my guns stored safely. For my home defense gun, I did a review on a gun safe that's a quick access safe that lets me have access to it, but allows my firearms to always be locked up. So store your firearms safely around children. You also need to take into account that maybe you can teach your children gun safety, and that's fine, but they're likely going to have friends come over that may or may not have the same knowledge and education about firearms. So you need to take into account the visitors and all people that will be coming around your house and potentially have access to those firearms. So keep them safe. Okay, the next is once your kids are old enough, teach them about firearms safety, the 4 rules. I've done a video on that as well. Next, you should teach your kids what to do if they come across a gun in somebody else's home that isn't secured, and you just need to teach them to be safe around it, to not touch it, likely go tell an adult, and be safe around it in general. The next thing is once they're old enough, you should take your kids shooting and demonstrate the rules of firearm safety with them, and so they can enjoy the sport, get into the Second Amendment, and pass that Second Amendment blessing literally onto the next generation. Again, it's going to depend on the type of firearm you're shooting, on what age they are ready to go shooting at. And so I'm going to leave that up to you, since I figure you know your children way better than I am ever going to know. So if you're watching this, you determine the age that your children are ready to go shooting. When it comes to going shooting, make sure to teach your kids to wash their hands after they go shooting. That's probably a good practice anyway, even just from playing in the yard, but especially with shooting, because lead is not good for children at all. Especially children under 6-year-olds are especially vulnerable to lead, and it can cause delayed mental development. It can cause all sorts of other nasty things in kids under 6 years old. So make sure you're especially careful when it comes to lead and children. So even my reloading stuff, I'll always wash my hands before I do anything or touch stuff inside. If I've been casting, I'm pretty crazy about it because I usually cast for a couple hours, so I'll even go inside, take off all my clothes, shower, change, and then I'll handle and play with my kids and all that. And I know that I've been doing a good job because at my son's first birthday, they check their blood for all sorts of things, and lead is one of the things they check for, and it was normal levels completely across the board, so I know whatever I'm doing is working. I do have another friend who he's also into this stuff, and his kids' lead levels were just a little bit high, so he had to change a couple things. So make sure you're safe with your kids around reloading equipment as well. Don't let them touch it until they're old enough to understand what it does. So be safe with your kids as well. Okay, the last thing is shooting while pregnant in general is a bad idea. Partially to the lead exposure, and some people say, oh, I'm not touching lead. The primer compound, as it goes off, has a lead compound to it, so a lot of it is put out into the air, and you can breathe very, very small amounts of it in, but still enough to not be good. So shooting while pregnant is a bad idea. Also, the percussion, a fetus that is well developed can actually hear stuff, so if you're shooting very noisy rifles, then that could be a bad idea. So get yourself a suppressor. Actually, shooting while pregnant is general not a good idea. In fact, indoor shooting ranges or shooting ranges in general, typically, actually, I don't know a single one that will let pregnant women shoot. So don't shoot while you're pregnant. Okay guys, that is pretty much it for firearm safety in children. I'm sure I missed something, so if you thought of something else, please put it in the comments below. And then happy shooting.